saying hello to HelloFresh. Healthy ingredients, easy to follow recipes, shipped to your door. Limited time, get $30 off your first box. Go to HelloFresh.com/Colin. Free shipping too, HelloFresh.com/Colin. I've eaten that a couple times the last couple of weeks. So last night, it's not a big deal. The Lakers beat the Celtics. It's an NBA regular season game. It was in Los Angeles. Kyle Kuzma played pretty well, especially late. And it was 108-107. It's not the rivalry it used to be. I think we all know the Lakers rebuild is not going perfectly. The Celtics rebuild is certainly better. And I think Brad Stevens, in my opinion, is the best coach in the NBA. He doesn't have any titles, but, Popovich had Tim Duncan. Steve Kerr's got 4 great players. Brad Stevens has Kyrie Irving for an hour, and he's had to face LeBron in the East, and he's been part of a rebuild, and yet they're number one again. So the game doesn't mean much. But one of the reasons I don't freak out every time LeBron and the Cavs kind of bang around in January is, A, here comes the trading deadline every year, and they tend to make moves, and B, the East is awful. The only real threat at all, you think John Wall, who his teammates don't like, is a threat? His teammates don't like him. They had a players-only meeting, and it got worse after the meeting. And then Toronto, when has Toronto ever been a step-up franchise? Okay, the only roadblock for LeBron to the finals is Boston, and Brad Stevens is tremendous. But I said the 2 things I kept saying why I think Cleveland's still going to win the East, and I don't buy all the, oh, my God, the end of the world for LeBron is 2 reasons. The one guy Boston had that could guard LeBron, they traded away, Jay Crowder to Cleveland. They don't have anybody to guard LeBron. He's going to do whatever he wants in that series. The number 2 issue is you're relying on 19-year-old Jason Tatum to play a pivotal role. He's a kid. The NBA's a man's league. You can sneak into town, use motivation, preparation, and coaching to win regular season games. NBA playoffs, bro, LeBron's in town. Can you beat him 4 times in 2 weeks? Cleveland still has a chance and probably wins the East. But here's what happened last night, and here's what's happened, which we predicted, and now it's happening. Jason Tatum, the 19-year-old, suddenly has hit a wall and can't shoot. This happens, that's why I said, slow down the Jason Tatum love. In October, he shot 48%. In November, he shoots 49%. In December, he shoots 50%. Now he's shooting 34% and averaging 10 a game. Jason Tatum played 36 games a year at Duke, surrounded by the best players in college basketball. Now he's on a team that's relying on him, and he's 19. Now he's into 40 games. Jason Tatum has officially hit the wall. Did you watch him last night? He is tired. By the way, Lonzo Ball's hit a wall. He's already missed 11 games. This is a man's league. You can't depend on a 19-year-old. Minnesota hit 2 grand slams with Karl Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins. They couldn't get to the playoffs. Come on. What's happening to Boston is why I don't freak out about LeBron. They don't have anybody to guard LeBron in a 7-game series. He's going to get off. I mean, he's going to do whatever he wants to do. He's going to have total freedom. They don't really have a guy that matches up with him. And you're relying on Jason Tatum? What happened to him in the last 3 weeks is what happens to every 19-year-old that played 30 games in college. I'll never forget having a story with an NBA player one time. And this is the best way to describe it. He said, and he used Duke. He said, if you play at Duke, if you're a basketball player at Duke, not only do you just play 30 games, but he goes, at Duke, you'll only, let's say you're a guard, you'll only face 2 NBA players all season, one of them probably at North Carolina. They'll probably have an NBA guard, but Clemson won't and Florida State won't. You will, and in the tournament, because you're a 1 or a 2 seed, your first 3 to 4 games of the tournament, you won't face an NBA guard. You may only face them against Carolina if you're a Duke guard. They'll have an NBA guard, and in the tournament, the last 2 games. In the NBA, you face an NBA guy every night, meaning you can't just play an offensive game. In college, if you're Jason Tatum, you can kind of go out and think, I can get my 18. I don't have to work that hard in the defensive end. I'm not playing an NBA guy. In the NBA, if you don't put effort on the defensive end, you score 9, you give up 20. So these kids, it's just, and I don't blame Jason Tatum. He's human. You cannot keep weight on. Have you ever noticed NBA guys retire and they get heavy? Because they're not burning 6,000 calories a night. So this is just all part of the physiology of the NBA. Jason Tatum plays 36 in college, rarely faces an NBA guy. Now he's hit that 36-40 mark, and he ain't the same player. And why is his shooting going down? Because his legs are shot. And shooters shoot with their legs first, their hands second. You get lift. Jason's legs are going. You can watch him last night. Not the same kid. Now, he'll get some rest, but we still got 45 games to go in the regular season. Forget the postseason. So this is why I just never freak out. I love Brad Stevens. I love their rebuild. They're tremendously smart in the front office. I'm for everything they're doing. No LeBron guy to guard, and Jason Tatum is a 19-year-old. You can't depend on him to do anything in the playoffs. He may give you a 19-point game, and he may be a complete defensive liability. His legs now, he is tired 35 games in.
So you're saying that you don't take anything away from the game last night with the Celtics?
It's a game. The Celtics have lost 4 straight.
I agree with you. I think that's just completely a slump. But you're also saying that because of this, they're not going to beat the Cavs?
No, you're going to have to beat LeBron 4 times in 2 weeks, and Boston has nobody to guard him.
Have you seen the Cavs lately?
I've seen Cavs the last 7 years. I've seen the Cavs for the last 4 years in the regular season. They were worse last year in January statistically. I just never worry about it. I really did. Now, Golden State, Houston, you're not beating those teams. But this whole crisis in the East, Boston's lost 4 straight, just lost to the Lakers, and Kuzma has become a rookie. Tatum's become a rookie. He hit the wall. Look at the numbers. He's lost his legs. Christy on the news.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herdline News.
Well, LeBron James did reach his 30,000th point last night. So it turns out that his preemptive congratulatory message to himself was okay because he did reach it. This is despite the fact that the Cavs lost 114-102 last night to the Spurs, who were missing key players in their game. So he put up this message on Instagram, which I'm not going to knock at all. I think this is great. He said, thank you to all my family, friends, colleagues, business partners, and fans for reaching out by phone, video, social media, all last night. I truly appreciate it. We did it together. Yeah, great. This is what I would have liked to see instead of that other message. Just, thanking people and being humble. Yeah. However, LeBron had to go further, and when he was asked about his achievement last night, this was his answer.
Well, I'll never fully appreciate what I do anytime I accomplish something, no matter if it's a win or a loss. I've always told you, Jason, told our guys back home that looking forward to the moment when I'm basically can be done with the game and I can sit back with my family and my friends. We can sit back, drink some wine, talk about all the accomplishments that I had and the feats that I've been able to accomplish. So I even tried to psych myself out today with my Instagram posts. Tell me to take some time and tell you I don't know how to do it. I've never been able to do it.
I'm never fully able to appreciate what I do.
Yeah, who can?
I can't wait until I can retire and sit back and think about these things with a glass of wine. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Did he not watch TV yesterday or read anything about...
He's too busy dominating the world.
I don't even need to say anything. That's pretty ridiculous. More details are coming out about the team meeting that the Cavs had that was supposedly where they addressed Kevin Love and questioned his sickness and if it was really true. And now Kevin Love is saying that he is not happy that details of this meeting are starting to leak.
That's something that we're going to keep, we tried to keep in-house. I felt like we should keep it on the court or in the locker room. Obviously, it didn't stay there, but just had a meeting. We aired any grievances we had, and we're going to move forward. Hopefully, we'll be better for it. We have been in the past, and we'll just put that behind us now. I feel like a target. I think most people were a target. We're trying to figure this thing out. People hold themselves at a very high standard on this team, and we're a team that feels like we can compete at the highest level.
I like that he always, I like Kevin Love. Like the last 2 days, he's actually answered the questions.
I like Kevin Love too, but this also tells me I agree with you. Every January there seems to be a problem with LeBron, but this year, and especially since Kyrie left and stood up to him, it seems like they're falling apart more than we think. And if you have Kevin Love coming out and saying that he didn't appreciate what had happened,
it's weird.
bad.
If you and I had a meeting in off to the stage, and it showed up the next day in the paper, I'd feel like, well, I didn't say it. Like it's weird. Like if I was in that meeting, in any meeting really, and I was in a meeting, and the next day I open the paper, and details of the meeting are there.
You feel violated.
I feel I would be like, you and I have talked about this. Like I don't talk to any media critics.
Right.
Like they don't call me. I don't call them. I'm not DMing them so I can get protection from them. Like I'm always amazed how much stuff in my business leaks out. Like it's all insecurity. Like who would rush to the newspaper after a closed door team meeting? I mean, if I'm Kevin Love, I'm like, guys, this is like in the room. Why are we leaking it?
Especially when it sounds like they were ganging up on Kevin Love and questioning if he was really sick. I mean, that's the kind of thing that you can't repair.
Yeah. That's weird.
So I don't think this is going to go well for them.
Too many leakers. Too many people talking. Just why does everybody have to gossip?
Well, why did this meeting even have to take place in the first place?
Well, Washington. I mean, teams have meetings. The Lakers have had one. Washington just had one.
Well,
I mean, by the way, even Golden State had one last year because Draymond and Durant were.
Oh no, team meetings totally.
Yeah.
A team meeting to address one teammate for faking a sickness is a different thing. My final story, though, is that it's coming out in reports. This is from Frank Isola that it was actually Isaiah Thomas who led the charge against Kevin Love in this meeting.
Yeah.
You know what happens when you're in a toxic environment, Colin?
What?
You become toxic. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Isaiah didn't do stuff like this.
Isaiah
before.
and Love, actually, if you look at the numbers, the Cavs don't play well when those two are on the court together. Kevin Love plays well when Isaiah isn't on the floor, and Isaiah plays well when Kevin isn't on the floor. So those guys.
So you think Isaiah wants
I'm
to
not
get
blaming
Kevin
anybody.
Love out of town?
I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just
The
saying
drama.
that thing isn't working. Christine with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Lie
All
News.
right, let's go to New York. Somebody I know can have my back. Nick Wright, first things first, 6:30 Eastern every morning on FS1 via the Coward Global Satellite Network. All right, all sorts of stuff leaking out. I'm never a big fan of stuff leaking out. I don't like it in any place I've ever worked. I just don't. I would think if you and I had a meeting, Nick, last night you and I talk on the phone, I'd hope it doesn't end up in somebody's column. What do you make of all the leaks and the struggles right now for the Cavs? What do you make of it?
Well, I did enjoy Christine's rendition of Herdline News, or as I call it, anti-LeBron James propaganda. But
propaganda is fake. This is real news.
Christine's like, Isaiah Thomas never did these things when he was in Boston. Well, except Boogie Cousins hated him in Sacramento. He didn't last in Phoenix and only win. And offense revolved around him exclusively under a brilliant head coach in Brad Stevens. Has this type of thing not followed around Isaiah Thomas?
So
there is
Cousins?
clearly.
Yeah.
That's just the history of it. That's just the reality of it.
Yeah, Isaiah
It's
was a bounce around guy until he got the best coach in the league. That's fair to say. Brad Stevens, I think Brad Stevens, I know everybody loves Steve Kerr, but Luke Walton won with the Lakers. He won with Golden State's roster, too, and so did Mike Brown. I think Stevens the best coach in the NBA. I really do systematically. I do.
I would say Pop, but Stevens is on the very, very short list right after Pop. The point that I'm making is there is clearly a rift between the Cavs who won a title with the team, that short list of guys, and nearly everyone else. I don't think it's just Isaiah Thomas. I think Jay Crowder has been an enormous part of the problem. I also think there are guys that are unhappy, essentially most of the new guys aside from D. Wade.
Yeah.
The Cavs right now have serious roster issues, most notably, though, in addition to Jay Crowder, two guys that did win a title with him, J.R. Smith and Tristan Thompson, are having the worst years of their professional careers. You add to that they've gotten nothing out of the point guard position this year. We thought because of Isaiah's injury, but now that Isaiah's back, he's not playing well either. They've had the worst backcourt production of any playoff team.
Wow.
All of those issues bubble to the surface. And then you have Kevin Love, who's been the fall guy or scapegoat for this team for 4 years, catch the brunt of it again.
Yeah, Kevin Love's always the guy taking the shots, but I'll give Kevin Love credit. The last 2 days, the media's asked him questions, and he has stood there. He's taken all of them. He's been very forthright. I kind of feel Kevin Love's become Chris Bosh. That he became the fall guy. And some of that's on LeBron because LeBron wants his forwards to become centers, and you have to kind of, you kind of shrink around LeBron James. Let me go to the Celtics 4-game losing streak, which I don't, during an NBA season, there are weeks teams literally get the flu. They play poorly. It's your road trip. But I do think, Nick, Jason Tatum in the last month as a 19-year-old, we predicted it, has now hit a wall. His shooting's deteriorating because his legs are shot. I think that's a real thing. What do you make of the struggles?
Yeah, I mean, I just color me shocked that a team that has one truly above average offensive player, and he's an elite offensive player in Kyrie Irving, that they might all of a sudden hit the skids, that the Celtics might shockingly not be a 60-win juggernaut when their second best player is either a 19-year-old or a 31-year-old Al Horford. I mean, of course this is who they were going to be. It's why, while everyone's being Pollyanna about the Cavs and LeBron, of course the Cavs are still going to come out of the East. Of course the Cavs are going to be fine until the finals, where right now they wouldn't be fine at all. Like, the Celtics last night, they could have stolen a win, by the way, against the Lakers.
Yeah.
But Marcus Smart decided that down one of the 5 worst three-point shooters in NBA history, was just going to take 6 dribbles and heave when he had Terry Rozier on the side and a very hot Kyrie Irving coming around to curl. For the Celtics to score, they need Kyrie to be awesome. Kyrie was awesome last night. They still lost to the Lakers. Like, the Celtics are a really good story who absolutely could get bounced in any round of the playoffs this year.
I tell you another interesting thing, and we all know Golden State's really good, and one of the reasons I've defended LeBron for years is after you win a title, I do think teams get bored. Shaq and Kobe had some pretty marginal regular seasons, and then they go 16-1 in the playoffs. And I don't give, listen, Golden State's the best team in the league. They know it. It's hard to get up for 82 regular season games, but there's a weird thing going on where Kevin Durant was ejected again. And we've seen I don't know what to make of it, because I always thought he was, if nothing else, a little passive aggressive. What do you make of this? He's now getting ejected at a Rodman pace.
Listen, Kevin Durant's behavior this year is really unbelievable and indefensible. Kevin Durant has more ejections than every team in the NBA.
That's amazing.
Okay?
That's amazing.
So Kevin Durant's been ejected 4 times. The rest of the Warriors, by the way, have been ejected 4 times. And then after that, the next highest team is at 3. He has 10 technical fouls this year. The only player in the league with more technicals is Draymond Green. And Colin, remember a few weeks ago when you asked me if I'd ever gotten in a scuffle at a bar?
Yeah.
Well, imagine if every time we talked on the phone, every Tuesday, you're like, hey, Nick, how's it going? I'm like, man, got in another bar scuffle. People are just out to get me. You might be like, Nick, the problem's you. Well, Kevin Durant last night's like, oh, yeah, that ref, he was in his feelings. He was out to get me. Nah, bro. Like, your second technical was a culmination of a 25-second temper tantrum that Draymond tried to save you from. When Draymond has to be the cooler head in the situation, you've lost the plot, my man.
Yeah.
And by the way, once you get to 16 technicals, you are suspended. That carries over into the playoffs.
Yep.
So this idea that it doesn't matter, it could matter. And for a guy who had 1 ejection in his entire career leading into this year, I just got one simple question for Kevin Durant, the reigning finals MVP, the guy who gets to play easier than he's ever gotten to play in his career. Why are you so mad, bro? Like, what is this angst, this metaphysical, you can't put a name on it, just thing sitting on your chest that makes you call out Clint Capella and create fake Twitter accounts and put nonsense on your sneakers and argue with what's going on? Why is everything you always dreamt for and hoped for some reason not enough?
Yeah. I think there's a certain arrogance with the Warriors. They've been told how smart they are in Silicon Valley, and they look at officials as tedious and insignificant. And I think there's something you and I have talked about. There is an arrogance around Golden State. As great as Michael Jordan and the Bulls were, there was sort of a working class toughness that I always liked about the Bulls. Like, they give you a defensive effort every night. I think the Warriors are a little full of themselves, and they don't think they should be officiated. Now, finally, though, LeBron, 30,000 points, youngest player to do it. I'm just going to give you the floor for 90 seconds. Let's bask in the glory of the Swiss Army knife in basketball. What do you make of it?
Here's what I make of LeBron, and it's a good moment to reflect on it. Because, yeah, he's the youngest to ever hit 30,000. He's the youngest to hit every single 1,000-point plateau in NBA history. The youngest to score 1,000 points, LeBron James. The youngest to score 19,000 points, LeBron James. And now the youngest to score 30,000. He's the only member of the 30,000, 7,000, 7,000 club, points, rebounds, assists. And here in a couple months, he's going to become the only member of the 30,000, 8,000, 8,000 club. But that's not the most remarkable thing about LeBron James. The fact that he's the most efficient scorer in NBA history, when that's not his best trait, is not the most remarkable thing about LeBron James. The fact that he's going to go to his 8th straight finals this year, that's not the most remarkable thing about LeBron James. The most remarkable thing about LeBron James is this. He became famous when he was 15. He has no dad. His mom has had issues. He's been in the public eye for nearly 20 years. He was the single most hyped prep athlete ever.
Yeah.
And he has exceeded the hype. The most hyped athlete ever exceeded the hype. The child star that not only never had a meltdown, but never had one single run-in with the law. The child star whose biggest public misstep raised $4 million for charity. The most hyped player of all time who exceeds all the hype, and who 15 years in is having one of the best years individually of his career. So people can dislike some of his social media postings. People can say, oh, he's not the best GM in the world. What he is the greatest team sport athlete we've ever seen in this country. And he continues to set new standards for the next generation of great athletes, standards that I don't know if anyone's ever going to be able to reach.
His name is Nick Wright. It is so good. I feel like Nick is like my backpack. Like I can put Nick on, and I have support, and and I pull stuff out of the backpack, and you're always like, oh, I forgot I put that in the backpack. That was just a wonderful surprise.
I'm not certain how I feel about that, like, visual that you're painting for the audience, but I know you mean it with an open heart, Colin. I appreciate you, bro.
Thank you. Nick Wright, first things first, every morning on this network. You know, that I want to go, it's interesting. He brought up something at the end that I once brought up to a president of the United States when I worked at the other place. I want to address that next as the herd.
It's 6 a.m. 40 million Americans are waking up to a Gillette shave. And at our factory in Boston, 1,200 workers are starting their day building on over 100 years of heritage, craftsmanship, and innovation. Today, we're bringing you America's #1 shave at lower prices every day, putting money back in the pockets of millions of Americans. As one of those workers, I'm proud to bring you Gillette quality for less, because nobody can beat the men and women of Gillette. Gillette, the best a man can get.
How do you win at business? Stay at La Quinta, where we're changing with stylish makeovers. Then, at your next meeting, set your seat height to its maximum level. Bravo, tall meeting man. Start winning today. Book now at lq.com.
In Chili Nation, we love our football. Especially when our football is filled with chili. Cheese dip. This is our chili, Hormel chili. We are Chili Nation.
New year, new phones for the family. Join T-Mobile, and when you buy one of the latest Samsung Galaxy phones, get a Samsung Galaxy S8 free. Plus, unlimited family plans come with Netflix included.
Spectacular!
So you can watch all your Netflix favorites on your new Samsung phones.
Woo! Yeah!
Join the Uncarrier and get a Samsung Galaxy S8 free. All on America's best unlimited network.
The Volkswagen Tiguan, with available pedestrian monitoring and the People First warranty.
When you hear Domino's, you think pizza. But we're more than that. We're mouth-watering bread twists, oven-baked sandwiches, pastas, chicken, and pizza. Just $5.99 each when you order 2 or more. We didn't stop at pizza, and you don't have to either.
TurboTax, huh?
I used them last year.
Sorry to hear that. You know, H&R Block More Zero lets you file online for free even if you itemize deductions.
Good to know. You're all set?
Thank you.
You must take your taxes pretty seriously.
I'm a serious guy, Margaret. Okay, let's do this now, huh? For real.
Unlike TurboTax, H&R Block More Zero lets you file online for free, even if you itemize deductions.
A more free way to file. Get your taxes one.
Heads up, let's go, heads up.